Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Investing Bros. We've got a great show lined up for you guys today, but it does have to do with a little bit of negativity. Even though it's Friday, guys, it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Just for that, smash the like button because this has been a long week, and I cannot wait to rest. We will still be doing a Saturday show tomorrow, but I cannot wait to rest tomorrow. Kick back, watch some college football, watch the charts, make sure nothing is happening. But today we do got to talk about Bitcoin. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back down to about 26,000. Technically dropped a little bit below it, but we're hovering right in that zone. And the reason for that is because of things we have predicted on this channel, and that is that Gary Gensler cares about nothing and no man, and he will continue to delay Bitcoin ETFs until someone takes his job from him, but that could happen again here very soon. But once again, even BlackRock could not escape the wrath of Gary Gensler and the delay of a spot Bitcoin ETF. That is why price is down. We're going to break that down in the news. We're going to break down what that means in the charts. Make sure you don't go anywhere. We have some other stories to cover here on this good old Friday. But while you're here, smash the like button. And if this is your first time joining in for the Investing Bros, thank you so much for being here. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. We're quickly growing towards 5,000 subscribers, even though we're still less than a year old. Thank you to every single one of you guys who chooses to tune in with us every single weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and now Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for being here. I am joined by the amazing, fantastic, beautiful, well-spoken T-Shroom from Florida. How you feeling, T-Shroom?
Flattered and better than I deserve.
Yeah.
No, it's been a good time. Got to go watch my Gators, my hometown team. To be honest with you, I'm pretty sure they lost. Right? They lost.
Did you watch the game or did you not watch
the first half? And then the second half, I went right to sleep because I was very tired.
Okay, yeah. That's more of a Saturday type of discussion, but they lost. I'll just go ahead and give you that. Rip the Band-Aid off. Speaking of maybe a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on.
Yeah. Got my quote of the day. Got my quote of the day here, guys. It's a classic. You've probably seen it. Hard times create strong men. Got Washington up there. Strong men create good times. Classic Constitutional Convention. Good times create weak men. Our present day. And weak men create hard times. So that is something to keep in mind. Maybe a little more hardcore of a quote than we needed today, but it's always good to harken back. Let us know in the chat if you've heard or seen that quote before. It's one that I've seen circulating around the last couple of years. So
yeah,
very interesting.
It's a good one. It's a very good quote, and it's a very true quote. We're about to read some names here. I do have to give a special shout out to Kelly Kellum. Kelly, first of all, we need to get you on the show here again soon. We need you to come on here, break down some stuff for us. But make sure you guys always, when you're done with Investing Bros, you guys know we go live 9 to 10. Go check out Kelly. I think Kelly, tell us in chat. Sometimes it's closer towards 10 o'clock. Sometimes it's 10:15, but he has his show every morning, BitLab Academy, breaking it all down. You got a great lineup every single day with crypto content. Make sure to go and support Kelly Kellum and the BitLab Academy. Also, I'm going to read some trash talk from my beautiful wife, Taylor Warren, who we're still working on because she's a Florida State fan. But she has the ability to talk. She says JV plays on Thursdays. That's pretty rough.
Dang.
That's pretty rough. Goodness gracious. All right, well, let's read some other names here in chat. Got to give a shout out to the gold medalist, the first commenter of the day, Mr. Al Bundles, Crypto Trappa. Congratulations. He said, good morning, everyone. Cardano adds 250,000 new wallets. Come on, Cardano. You guys know we love our Cardano. That didn't help the price action of Cardano, but good for them for adding those wallets. Going to be explosive in the bull market. Mike Lowry is in second place saying, hi, silver medalist. Congratulations, Mike. And Mike Vollmer. Got a lot of mics in chat today. We've got a new mic we got to read here in just a second. But Mike Vollmer, message retracted. I think he said first, but he was in fact third. But you still podiumed, Mike, and that's what counts. Welcome to the bronze medal. Thank you, everybody who's commenting. Let's read some other names here, and we just got to jump right into this. All right, here we go. Mike Hunt Azaichi. Don't read that too fast. Don't read that too well. Yeah. Mike Hunt Izaichi is how we're going to go with that one. Welcome. How's Canada? A mellow fellow is here with the blue wrench. Who else do we have? Eric Wallen is here, our new local troll and agent of chaos, not so secret agent of chaos, Eric Wallen. Who else do we have in here? Mike Play is here. Taylor Warren, as for mentioned, with the blue wrench, the wife, the lovely supporter and not greatest college football fan in the world. Joe Nickel is also here. We have some other interesting names for sure. The community is catching on. Here we go. Tess Teichlis. Tess Teichlis, good to see you in here. Thank you for the support. Don't read that one too fast either. Let's see. Who else is in? Elliot Locke is here this morning. Sativio Shramoto, one of our favorites. Gia S with the blue wrench is here. Stephen E. Shrum, Brakoshi No Dinero, Ninja Glock is here. Peter Provost, Crypto Mini Bike. Let's see. Get a couple more here. Philly Skills 1428 is here. Good to see you. Troy King is in the building. Crypto AI is here. Bob with a capital B on both sides is here this morning. We'll get 5 more names. Oh, this is a great Tom Wilkes. Thomas Wilkes. One of the OGs of the channel. Been busy, but Tom, it's so good to see you in. I enjoy getting in text with you, and I know you're busy and you're doing some great stuff, but we've missed you. So good to see you back here. Yair Navarro is also here. DGen Tolman, Rick Wilson, Josh Denham, and the last one that I'm going to read, Steve B. Now, guys, I know there's some other names in chat, and we did get a super chat from Crypto Sec Guy. There we go. Listen, Eric Wallen and Crypto Sec Guy really trying to compete hard for Troll of the Month. Maybe that's going to be a new reward as well. I don't know. But
seeing Susan Shrum in the chat as well.
Susan Shrum is here. Mama Shrum, good to see you here. Crypto Set Guy says he gave $5. Said, hey, Tay, how about that game last night? Let's not. Listen, Crypto Set Guy, you guys worry about LSU. Deal with your stuff first. We'll see what happens at the end of the season. It's going to be a long season. A lot of things could happen, so don't get too cocky. Guys, if I did not read your name, because there's definitely some other names here in chat, it is not because I don't love you. It is simply time to go ahead and get on into the content for today. So let's go ahead and do just that. Starting off with the economic calendar, got to go to 2 stars because for some reason it was on 1. Non-farm payroll came in this morning at 187,000. Last month was 157. The expectation was 170 to 180. So that is coming in here just a little bit higher. Unemployment rate coming in at 3.8. So that has increased. The expectation is that it would stay at 3.5. But that's not the case. And it went to the upside. That's actually probably a good. It's terrible because that means that that means more people are out of work, but that's also something that you're looking at if you're Jerome Powell and the Fed, that maybe keeps them from raising rates too much more. It sucks that that's where it gets to, but that's kind of how he operates. Looking forward to next week, though, nothing really on Monday, not really that much on Tuesday of importance. Let's see what else. Down here, 10 a.m. on Wednesday, we have the ISM Services PMI. China's going to have their balance of trades. Is there anything else important? Doesn't look like next week is too big of a week in the economic calendar, but we'll keep you posted if anything is big and anything is important. Let's keep moving on here. Let's look at our CoinGlass liquidations going to 24 hours. If I can click the button. There we go. A lot of longs liquidated here, guys. 40 million longs liquidated. Of course, small fraction of the entire space, but that's a lot of people who were convinced the market was going to the upside even more. They were probably over leveraged in longs, maybe even started some new longs. And because of the price dipping down, a lot of people got liquidated there. Ethereum, $24 million were liquidated of longs. Others, again, is in third place. So a lot of others getting wrecked right now. People are predicting the wrong ways. That's what happens, retail investors. When you get a little too cocky with leverage trading and you think you know exactly what's happening, you get exposed, you get manipulated, and price goes the other direction. Let's keep looking on what else we have this morning. Trueflation coming in down today at 2.67 after being at 2.71 yesterday. That means that is moving in the right direction. You love to see it. Let's take a look at our CME futures predictions. Holy cow, that's high, guys. 93% are saying we're going to stay paused. That's a good sign. Not that we thought that we were actually going to change this prediction. Not that we actually thought that anyone was going to. I don't think anyone thinks Jerome Powell is going to raise rates in September. But it is definitely looking like that's going to be a sure thing. And when you see something like this, you're going to just have to go ahead and assume Yeah, November picked up traction to say paused. A lot of people, 63% saying we're going to stay paused. 34 still saying they think 25 basis points is coming in November. But I like the fact that this is rising over here. December, let's see what they're saying. About 60% saying we stay paused. Then you're starting to see splits of people beginning in December to say, are we looking at a rate cut? So let's keep our eyes on that. January is going to stay paused. March is going to stay paused. No, holy cow, this is new. March just barely now predicting 36.7% saying that we're going to get the first rate cut of 25 basis points, 35.9% saying we're going to stay paused, which means I bet you, yeah, it's not overwhelming, but now you're starting to see a lot more people in the camp of saying in May, we're at least going to be at 5 to 525. 26%, the second highest one here in May, is saying we're going to be down to 475 to 5. So rate cuts are looking like they are expected at this point to potentially start in March, right there before the halving, and continue on in May potentially. And that could be really good. That actually low-key should be bullish for markets. But of course, price is down right now. And I think there's a lot of things that could continue to manipulate the emotions of traders and continue to change all of this. Let's continue to look, though. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. Remember yesterday I told you I didn't like 52. I didn't like how high it was. There you go. Guys, we were too high. We dropped down to 40, dropping by 12 points there within 1 day because of that big dip. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index back into fear, not necessarily severely, but back into it at 40. Could be really interesting to see what happens next. 25.2 probably will be defended for a little bit, but keep your eyes on if that level gets lost here. Let's take a look at our market this morning, just overall see what is happening. Bitcoin down 4% within the last 24 hours. Took a big bath. And of course, the reason why is because the big catalyst was the ETFs. That's why you're going to see altcoins maybe not down as much. They follow Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the king. Bitcoin holds the leash. Other things follow it wherever it goes. But when the news is directly positive or negative against Bitcoin, that's usually when it leads the rest of the market. So 4% down versus Ethereum, only 3.6, BNB 3.8, XRP 3.45, Cardano only down 2%. That's because Cardano's already pretty overextended to the downside. It's going to take a big catalyst and move to kind of break some of these 25 to 24 cent ranges. Dogecoin down 3.79. Solana down 4.71. So that's so far biggest loser so far is Solana. Let's see who else. Polygon down 4.78. 4.31 for Bitcoin. Litecoin, the biggest one now, 5.44. Bitcoin Cash down 0.5. What else? I think that's about it. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers, biggest losers of the day. Biggest gainers, not a big gain day. Toncoin is the leader, up 2.94%. Tron also up 1.71%. Astar, after being in red for a while, it took a reversal. So it's kind of moving. You're kind of looking at, I bet you when there's green days for majority of crypto, you're looking at red days for Astar and vice versa. Let's take a look at our biggest losers. KuCoin token is the biggest loser, down 8.66. Stacks down 7.42. Phantom down 6. Optimism down 6. eCash down almost 6. So there we go. Hedera HBAR, which, fun fact from yesterday, if you missed the show, it's not on the blockchain. It's on a graph. So, but HBAR is down almost 5. It's down 5.5%. Not necessarily a crazy bearish day because, again, the FUD was mostly about Bitcoin. But for Bitcoin, it was a big move to the downside. That is the economic outlook. T-shirt, let's go to Brocam because now new tradition, and I'm loving it so far. Let us know in chat what you guys think of this. But before we jump into the charts, because that's what we're about to do, we got to get our fact question of the day from T-shirt. This is like you guys watching football, college football. Sometimes they'll do like the Aflac trivia question.
That's right.
And then they like do a couple plays or wait a quarter and they give you the answer. This is the what are we? Is this the BitGet fact of the day or trivia question of the day? What are we gonna call this?
Tim, we're going to turn to the BitGet halftime trivia report. We always enjoy these. These are fun. I think a little trivia elf comes up with these in the back. But here's today's. What year was the first ETF, exchange traded fund, launched in the USA? A, 1984. Oh, I remember 1984. B, 1993. C, 1998. Or D, 2000. We're going to come back to that trivia at the end of the technical analysis, but for now we're going to hit the charts and see what the price action's telling us about the future of some of the assets we hold in our portfolio. That was your BitGet halftime report trivia
pretty good.
presented by the best insurance company there is, BitGet. And by
Yeah,
insurance, I mean exchange.
That's good. That's good stuff. Very well done, T-Shroom. That is a good one for sure. Can you go back to the options for just a second? I want to look at it. 1984, 1993, 1998, 2000. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, I'm wanting to say 93. I feel like you put 1984 as an option just to go too early.
Mm.
And I know of one that happened in 2003, but that doesn't give me an out because it's not like you put like 2005 or 2010 or something.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 93. I think 93 is my answer. But it's gonna be fun. I want to see what happens. I like this one a lot, T-Shirt. You did good. You chose good, and I love the voice. Maybe we'll get some what's the other guy that you do the impersonation of?
Dave Ramsey.
Maybe we get Dave Ramsey on the show later. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's jump onto the charts. Oh, T-Shroom, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. And now we're gonna get into some serious stuff here. These charts, of course, guys, brought to you guys by Chart Prime, the best indicator in the game. I love it. Listen, it changed the way I traded. If you guys are looking for a good option to trade and have some extremely helpful indicators, Chart Prime is the option. Check out the link down below. 45% off your first month or quarter with only our link. Like, we have the best deal out there. So you can go other places, but you already know where the best deal is. Use our link down below today. All right, let's do Bitcoin. And I told you guys, we dropped well over $1,000. We dropped all the way from 28.1 here a little bit. So actually over 2,000. We wicked down to 25.7 here last night. But notice, guys, when we started this whole explosive run, where was price action? Kind of sitting here at this blue line. But we wicked down, 25.9. We went all the way up and came down and took away all of the gains from the grayscale news. Pause for a second. Again, we tell you guys in this channel, when we are wrong, we tell you we're wrong. When we are right, we try to do it with as much humility as possible. This is a situation where I'm about to talk about where we were right and where I was wrong. I got a little greedy with you guys. I told you, even when we were back here, I said, I think we're going to pop up. I think we're going to come into this yellow box and touch this blue line. But I think 28.6 is where it will get to. And I told you guys, a lot of people would be really bullish and a lot of people would think we'd keep going up through, but there was going to be some sort of catalyst. I didn't know what, I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but some catalyst was going to FUD us out during this market. So we got that part right. We did get the prediction of getting into the yellow box and the FUD pushing us back down 100% right. It's just like a playbook, guys. This is what markets do. This is what manipulators do. What I got a little greedy with is thinking that we'd get up to 28.6. So this is where I was wrong. I was wrong. And something to keep your mind on and remember about technical analysis. This is something that's very important, especially when drawing trend lines. Trend lines are not perfect lines. They're zones. And so while we use straight lines and they're relatively thin, you want to keep zones in the back of your mind. And in reality, even though we didn't quite touch the blue line and turn it into resistance, I could draw this and manipulate the charts a couple different ways. You want to think of it more like a zone. We did get into that same zone, turning that former support level into resistance. I'm not saying it will be impossible for price to jump back up here and come back up maybe to 28.6, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now, I don't think that's going to happen. I do think this was the FUD that we predicted. I do think this is a manipulative move so that price could go up. A lot of these institutions could take profit. They then pump some story. They tell Gary Gensler, because they're on the phone with him, hey, go ahead and delay that ETF right there so we can get price back down so we can buy some cheaper Bitcoin. Boom. Triggered. Price coming back down. The question is, though, now are we going to be dropping below 25.2 or are we going to hold it and stay at that part of support? Let's take a look at some indicators here. MVP oscillator here on the 4-hour chart, absolutely telling us that there could be a buy coming very soon with all those green histograms. But you guys know we don't have any of those Christmas tree ornaments. No, none of the oversold, none of the green reversals. We don't have bullish divergence at this point. So you're going to have to continue to wait for confluence. When you pull on the Market Oracle Pro, you will see we got a reversal. So that's a good sign. But you don't want to be trading based off of one indicator alone. You want to wait for some further confirmation. So for that reason, as much as the price is low, and even though we're coming back down and getting lower on the oscillators, I think there's a very real chance we go maybe even a little bit lower. Don't be surprised to see us come back down to this level that we have as support down towards 25.3, maybe even down towards 25.2. I'm also not going to be surprised if we do see the price, if we do see it do that, maybe come back down and get another bounce to come back up before later breaking through 25.2. I told you guys this is playing out pretty much exactly how we've been calling it. But it's impossible to know exactly when things will happen. But I do think what we're seeing kind of build up here is the catalyst of saying there's manipulative moves in the market that we very easily could see something come down. And remember, right now, while there's a lot of positive news, when we were back over here and we're looking at the CME futures, we're seeing a lot of people predicting that rate hikes should be done. We're going to be paused for a little bit and go down. This thing changes so frequently. News breaks, like even within this last week, the amount of news that comes in and out and people get emotionally invested in this. And then it turns out it's not exactly what they thought. And then there's more details. There's a playbook behind the scenes, guys, to manipulate price action so that institutions that are now super bullish on Bitcoin can get more supply. I don't know what the story will be. I never know. I can never predict what something's going to be and how it's going to look. I just know they're going to find something to say that you should be scared and you should sell your Bitcoin. They're going to freak you out. They're going to drop the price. And then when it really starts getting bad, that's when price will bounce to the upside. And then there'll be some opinion story or something crazy. They'll find some sort of convenient bullish narrative to push to say that's why price went up, when in reality this is all about BlackRock and other institutions buying Bitcoin at a very, very cheap price. Again, when we're looking at our multi-time frame support and resistance, some other things to keep your eyes on. We got a lot of support here around the $25,000 range. The next level does not come into the equation until when? $19,700. You guys know that there is a CME gap down here. We're expecting that CME gap could be and should be filled. It goes as low as 19,940. You don't almost ever stop right at the level. You always come down a little bit lower. This chart is, which don't pay attention to that necessarily. That chart's saying there's a strong level of support down at 18 or 19,000. Definitely want to use these charts over here where it's saying that that level's a lot more towards the 19.7. There's another one down here towards 18.2. But this is where there's actually more confluence coming into space. This also, again, the reason why we're looking at that level is not just from the chart prime indicators, but there's also a lot of psychological things that happen at that level. That's the wick we had back here in March of 2023. There's Fibonacci levels that come into this. There's a whole bunch. I still believe, guys, I think the price is going to the downside. And I don't want to be the bearer of that bad news. In fact, I hate doing it. But that's what we're really big here about Investing Bros. We don't want to tell you what you want to hear. We're going to tell you guys what you need to hear. And we want you to continue to think for yourself, continue to come to your own conclusions. But so far, things are playing out pretty stinking close to how we have broken it down for you guys. So there you go. There's a couple chats here. Eric Wallen said, looking into Tim's hamper is like looking into the void. How did that even, what the heck? Like, does Tim own any colored shirt? Oh, it's because of black shirts. Okay, I get what you're saying. So yeah, you guys, this is the problem. When you have a wife come in chat, now she's potentially just talking about, I don't even think Taylor said anything, but Eric Wallen, our secret, not so secret agent of chaos, is trying to do his damage in chat. Good for him. Do we get more than one super chat?
Just got one.
We got a new one here. Joker's Wild said, hi guys, great stream. Question for you. What do you think the trend will be next cycle? We had DeFi popping off, then it was the metaverse and NFTs. What's it going to be next bull run? Keep up the good work. First of all, thank you so much, Joker's Wild, for that super chat. Go to ProCam real quick. We might do, it's 9:24, so we might do like one more coin here in a second, T-Shroom. I know a lot of people probably wanted to look at ADA. I know yesterday. Did we look at ADA yesterday?
No.
We're gonna look at ADA. All right. So, but back to the question here from Joker's Wild.
Maybe.
What's gonna pop off? I think we did, but we're gonna do it again because I like ADA and they like ADA, and we're gonna do ADA. Honestly, AI, Joker's Wild. Listen, with everything that we've talked about here last week, we haven't talked about it much this week, but Nvidia popped off. Oh my gosh, DZ in the chat, in the room too. Can confirm this is on point with laundry, at least. Never. Okay. Ever since the incident. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right. Back to Joker's Wild's question. I think AI is going to be really big. Nvidia. Oh my gosh. And he's going to come and he's going to get in. There we go. Yeah. Thank you for that. AI is going to be really big. NVIDIA, this is getting off track. NVIDIA is I think at this point, like I think there's going to be a big pullback on NVIDIA. In fact, that's actually another chart we should look at, T-Shirt, and see what it's doing. But I think that's going to be one that no matter what happens to the economy, no matter what happens to people, no matter what happens to crypto, no matter what happens to the stock market, AI is going to be huge. And NVIDIA, clearly the front runner, clearly the leader of the market, putting that stuff out there. And I know that's not technically solely a crypto thing. The emergence of crypto, especially we're looking at institutional adoption of both Bitcoin and Ethereum, crypto and blockchain is going to be a huge thing. We're watching banks come out crazy with it. So crypto paired with AI is going to be a big thing in this next market. Not to say that NFTs won't have a resurgence, not to say that a lot of Web3 stuff is going to have resurgence. When it comes to DeFi protocols, I know some people believe that DeFi protocols could really take off. I don't know if this is this market yet, though, because I don't know if there's while we in the crypto space are kind of outraged by the way banks work and by the way this stuff happens. That's not a massive. Most people aren't that worried about how banks work. They're worried about is their money in their bank safe. I think banks have a good run using blockchain technology, using Bitcoin and Ethereum to have a lot of support, but I think we're not quite there where people's outrage against banks is ready for DeFi protocols to take off like it's crazy. Maybe next bull market. But this one, AI. That was a long answer with a lot of chaos and a lot of help. Shout out to DZ. Guys, by the way, with all the chaos happening here at Hit Network, DZ has been doing a phenomenal job. I can't even tell you guys behind the scenes, DZ stepping up to do what he can to continue to provide knowledge, to provide, help in this crazy situation. If you guys don't like DZ, I don't know, something's wrong with you. DZ's awesome. He's one of the greatest, hardest workers I've ever met. And so shout out to DZ. Let's keep moving on, though. I told you guys we do quick Cardano TA, and then we're going to jump into community time and get into some stories. Take a look at Cardano, not too different than the other day, but there's a small difference when we come to the 4-hour chart. I do believe, if I was doing TA this morning correctly, come on, load for me. There we go. All right. Remember I told you on Bitcoin, when you get the MVP oscillator flashing green, you're wanting to see some other things come in to confirm. Well, guess what? We did get a green reversal here on Cardano. Also, it's kind of sitting here. We're not in a, while we had a wick on the 17th go lower, this 25-cent region is holding up pretty strong. So the fact that we wicked to 25 with the MVP oscillator flashing green for us, with the RSI going below 30 and a green reversal triangle, great start for Cardano. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if there's a rebound bounce, like let's say Bitcoin makes it back up to 27,000, back up to like this resistance zone right here, I think Cardano potentially could make another push back up to long time support and resistance zone, psychological factor going in here at 30 cents. Again, look at the history of 30 cents dating back to the first time we ever touched it back here in 2021. You can see all the wrestling. Yes, we went above and below, but a lot of wrestling right here, and then kind of a bring back down. We come back down to reuse it as support before taking off in that bull market. Don't pay attention to that scam wick. That's more of a glitch. Then you come back down here back in November of 2022. Strong support. We lost it. We broke back up. Temporary resistance before we broke it back above it. Support. Resistance, support, resistance. Don't be surprised to see 30 cents maybe come back into the equation. But again, before that big dip down to 18 cents, I still believe that's happening, guys. I haven't changed my mind. Maybe there's something bullish that happens, and I will update. That's another thing we're really big on, guys. While we make predictions and we talk about what we think is going to happen, it's just a dumb way to go about doing technical analysis or doing price action if you make a prediction and think you have to stick to it. With new information coming out, you have to be ready to adjust, to move. I will let you know if I am going to change my mind about 18 cents on Cardano, but for now, nothing has happened to make me change my mind about that prediction. I still believe that we could see a good little dip at the end of September, in October, where we see a lot of things, maybe a lot of altcoins hitting new lows for the bear market, Bitcoin getting back down to below 20K. But all of this is still, we got to see some more confirmation come out before we can make that definite call. Let's go back to Bro Cam here, T-Shroom. Shout out to ADA. Shout out to Cardano. No matter what the price is, guys, it's a great project. The stuff they're building and what they're going to do in the bull market is still astronomical. So I see this as more of a bullish thing. If I can get more Cardano at 18 cents to prepare for a bull market that might see it get up towards $8, $10, that's some big returns, some big stuff. Nothing changed about my long-term price prediction either. So with that said, let's engage with chat, T-Shroom. Let's get the answer to our trivia question. I guess that's our first thing. Trivia question of the day. When was our first ETF? And also, is this for the United States? Is this like worldwide? What is the parameters here?
It's a good question, Tim, and that answer is exemplified right here.
Oh, I missed that part of the question. Okay,
that's okay.
Thank you.
And that's okay. We all make mistakes.
All right.
So taking a look here at the question again, what year was the first ETF, exchange traded fund, launched in the United States?
Okay.
Was it A? I'm not going to read all the answers again. The answer is 1993. Tim, you got it.
Yeah.
He's a champion yet again. The SPDR, the Spider S&P 500 ETF Trust, ticker SPY, was launched in 1993. What were some of the big songs and movies out in 1993?
T-Shroom, you and I were not born in the year 1993, so that is not something we would know the answer to. In fact, we had to wait a whole year to breathe our first breath.
Yeah. The top song of the Billboard Top 100 was "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston in 1993. Good year. Good year for ETFs and a good year for old Whitney.
How's that ETF looking? Is that a good ETF still, or is it gone, or what's that one doing?
The SPY ETF, I think it's the top. Yeah, it's definitely
that was that SPY ETF. Okay, gotcha.
SPY, it's the same. It's the same.
I paid more attention I'm sorry. I was paying more attention to my date being correct than to see which ETF was the first one.
And that's based on what we know about you. That's understandable.
That's pretty dead on. Yeah. Okay, well, let's do this. Community time real quick, guys. You guys know it is Friday. That means it's the last weekday show, but tomorrow morning, T-Shroom, you're going to be live with me, right, T-Shroom? Because you're back.
On Saturday?
You're not on a vacation this weekend, are you?
I don't see a reason why I couldn't do a Saturday show.
Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It has been a blast. We break down what's kind of happened over the last week. We look at the future. We do some good technical analysis and take some requests, and then we always close out the show, especially now that it is back on. We'll talk a little college football, but not until ends of show. So anyone who doesn't like football, come in, enjoy 55 minutes of great crypto discussion, and then you can leave for the 5 minutes of college football discussion. But that's a big announcement. I think for now, T-Shroom, that's about it, unless there's something you're thinking of that I'm not, but I think that's it.
In terms of community. Yeah, I mean, there's the Saturday show. We had our X Spaces our Wednesday night. That went really, really well. We'll be having it again on Wednesday of next week. And yeah, I mean, the week's almost over, so there's not a lot to prep folks for, but
okay. We'll get another super chat.
Super
chat from Crypto Set Guy. I wish there was an ETF for the Florida season. I would short it all the way down. It's funny. All right, Crypto Set Guy. It's funny. How much would you cry if the Florida Gators just destroy the Seminoles? But this is football talk, guys. We're not here for football talk. Blame Crypto Set Guy. That was his fault. He paid money, and we had to read the chat. Blame him. Don't get mad at us. T-Shroom, let's get into the stories about crypto. We'll talk football tomorrow, Crypto Set Guy. I expect you to be here and be square.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into those stories, Tim. Taking a look here. Oh, what is this? Starfield just launched? Oh, well, but we're not a gaming channel, so we're going to keep it on track here. SEC punts on Bitcoin ETF, including BlackRock, Fidelity, and more. This is the big story for today, guys. One by one, the SEC disclosed delays yesterday for nearly every outstanding spot Bitcoin ETF application, except for Global X's. The SEC deadline to respond is October 7th. Notably, the regulator saved BlackRock, one of the world's largest asset managers, maybe you've heard of it, for last. So maybe kind of signaling what their fondness is there. It shouldn't be any news to anybody there. According to filings from the security regulator, it'll need until at least October 17th to decide whether to approve or reject most of the applications. The SEC set a fresh deadline of October 16th for Bitwise's application, which was the first in line, while Valkyrie received a deadline of October 19th. So interesting treatment there. for the different ETF applications. One sentence I thought was interesting here was, or humorous, you might say, is they need a longer period to evaluate the ETFs. So, Tim, what do you think goes on during the evaluation period that they need another delay? I believe this has got to be like double digits now delays of the
Yeah.
spot ETF, because if you count like all the the grayscale initial applications,
Yeah.
and then the Valkyrie, like there's been so many, and now they're delaying all of them again. What do you think is taking them so long? What's the holdup here, Tim?
Listen, this is actually a really special moment. I am going to be able to completely reenact live what is currently happening at the SEC offices.
Oh wow.
So this is important stuff, top-notch information. This is what is actively happening.
I'm Bald Gary.
That was not part of the act. Pay no attention to the man behind my face. All right, this is the live look of what the SEC is doing right now.
Oh, I see. It's a joke. Now that's just good old-fashioned humor.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're doing nothing. They're literally doing nothing. They've hired how many people whose full-time jobs are to read this stuff and to make they don't do anything. They are taking and stealing taxpayer money, doing nothing with the time because Gary Gensler has been told, "Hey, we need to delay all of this because we're not ready for the price to be bought up yet. We haven't gotten our full supply." So he's going to twiddle his thumbs. Maybe some of them might sit on their hands. That's a little harder for me to show via the camera because you guys don't see my seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing right now, T-Shroom. And I wish we could break it down and be more complicated with it, but that's legitimately all that's happening right now. SEC is doing nothing. They're delaying. They're going to continue to delay until either A, BlackRock and Larry Fink gives them a thumbs up and says, let's go, or Gary Gensler gets fired. Thank you for that, DC. It was a knee slapper, but you didn't slap your knee. So now I'm just feeling like you're lying to us. Yeah. What do you think, T-Shroom?
Yeah. No, I pretty much have the same thought. I mean, like evaluation, like what are they doing? Are they calling Israel and they're like, hey, these ETFs that you guys have launched? Are they calling Canada, the spot ETFs that you guys have launched, Australia? What has been the outcome? What has been the implications on the unemployment rate in your country? Like, are they doing some kind of full, like, comprehensive analysis, or is this exactly what you just said, Tim? Is it just a political, just financial under the table move, just trying to line the pockets of the elite rich at the expense of the little token holder down here at the bottom? Well, I mean, it's pretty clear to see, but that's not all. We've got some more stories here. Thank you, Tim, for your input. And let's take a look here. So we discussed it already. There was an unemployment miss. Unemployment rate unexpectedly rose to 3.8 in August as payrolls increased by 187,000. It's quite an increase there, Tim. I mean, the article here from CNBC goes into much more detail, but the question kind of leaps out. Is this going to be enough to make Jerome Powell say, we've got to cut the rates now?
No, not have to cut. So when he spoke at Jackson Hole, he talked about a potential for raising rates, but he definitely said, while that one wasn't a firm statement from him, he did say that we do believe that rates need to stay higher for longer. And also, I don't think he has any incentive to try to play any type of dovish scenario right now. If anything, I think it would make him look better to continue to talk a big game like he's going to continue to keep rates high, but then come in with a softening and then kind of say like, hey, actually things are doing a lot better than we thought. It turns out we can cut rates. But, people, well, I don't believe Jerome Powell has, done everything perfectly. I will say I'm not anywhere near as upset with Jerome Powell or upset with him or frustrated with him as I am with Gary Gensler, obviously. There's been moments in meetings, CryptoSec guy too, and Eric Wallen too. But there's been moments in meetings that I actually say, you know what? I think Jerome Powell is doing the right decision. I think Jerome Powell is doing what he needs to do. There's other ones where I'm like, okay, I don't get that one. What is happening here? I think that Jerome Powell is kind of playing the cards, and I think in his brain he is saying, I can't admit this, but I started the rate hikes too late. I mean, that was one of the biggest mistakes going back to early 2022 when he said everything's going to be fine. We don't have to do it that aggressively. He started the raising way too late and did it way too slow. And he's realizing that now. So what he doesn't want to have accomplished, he doesn't want to start cutting rates because everything's starting to look better and then things get back out of control. Yes, I'm reading chat too, T-Shroom. I know it's going amok today. Anyway, but he doesn't want everything to get out of control and him make the mistake of being too early to start raising them. So it's hard to completely fault him. I am not an expert on how exactly he should handle the situation. I think there's good case for saying cutting rates could be really good for the economy, but especially at the rate that we're still printing money with what this current administration wants to do with it. Can you really blame him for saying, guys, even though we kind of like what we're seeing in the numbers right now, we don't want to be too quick to cut rates because we do not want to see inflation get back out of control?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Well, meanwhile, the New York Stock Exchange pretty much agrees with you. You got the NASDAQ here up, clinging to green status, S&P marching higher, the Dow Jones up 0.2%, all kind of thinking that there could be some softening here as the jobs data does print a little bit of a motivator there for Jerome to maybe have a second guess on more hikes or longer pausing and maybe lean towards cutting, but it's probably not, in my opinion, probably not enough, and that's why you're not seeing ones on the other side of this decimal point here for these indexes. If that was the case, you'd be seeing probably 1 point something percent increases on this job, on this new unemployment rate print, but that's just not the case. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, and the market is responding likewise. Still green, but not aggressively so. Well, we've got a couple little headlines here that we'll read, kind of just jet through. PancakeSwap expands to Coinbase Incubated Base Network. Pretty exciting. That makes sense. Let's get to the other little ones here. Sorry. China says the best way to de-risk is to restore stability with the U.S., so that's pretty good. You see our fearless leader there having an intense conference with Beijing, Xi Jinping there. And then that's just CNBC's front page. Look at that. That's beautiful. So we'll return back to our this other story, which we'll probably camp out on a little bit. U.S. court calls Ethereum a commodity while tossing investor suit against Uniswap. So you've heard about the Uniswap suit, which is new precedent setting. It's almost similar to the social media protections that they have under the law, where they can't be charged for slander if someone posts slander on social media. Twitter, X.com, and Facebook can't, right? So in the same way, Uniswap can't be charged for Ponzi schemes if a scam token, or as it says right here, as a scam token is available for purchase on their DEX, on their platform, on their CEX, whatever it is going to CEX. Wow, get myself in all kinds of trouble. But the judge who oversaw the SEC lawsuit against Coinbase classified Ether as a commodity in her own opinion on the ruling, even as the SEC has shied away from doing so. So, Tim, is this pretty big news? Is this really, really big, or is this just kind of another pillow to throw on the couch of bullish optimism as we kind of run into a shifting of the market from bear market to bull market?
No, I mean, anytime a judge says something, that's a pretty good sign. If they say something bad, that's pretty negative. If they say something good, that's pretty positive. So the judge saying that Ethereum is a commodity, great for Ethereum. Now, that doesn't necessarily close the door. That doesn't mean that that's it, deal done, we can move forward, and Bitcoin and Ethereum are commodities. But other judges are heavily going to take into account her ruling. She also, I'm imagining, as a judge, is not sitting here just saying like off the cuff, yeah, if I had to guess, Bitcoin, like she has reason. She's been presented with details that make her believe when I'm looking at Bitcoin and I'm looking at Ethereum, they are commodities, not securities. So that should play out very well for any other judge that has to come into the equation. Again, the other bullish thing about this story is the same judge who just ruled in favor of Uniswap saying that these DeFi protocols cannot be held accountable for scam tokens in the same way that a car manufacturer can't be held accountable for a drunk driver crashing the car through a building. That's a big win for crypto as a whole. So now you see that judge giving us that kind of favorable crypto ruling. It's the same judge over the entire Coinbase case, not only giving us the positivity of Ethereum and Bitcoin being commodities, but also clearly this is someone who is not anti-crypto and is doing some pretty common knowledge, logical rulings. That's a really big bullish case. I think SEC is going to take another loss here. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody. It's not even going to surprise Gary Gensler because at this point, I don't even think he's trying to win. I think he just wants delaying, chaos. But this is going to be wrapping up, guys, in the perfect timing to keep a 4-year cycle intact. All this is going to wrap up. The institutions are going to come in. People are going to come back. The halving is going to come in place in April. And boom, just like that, we're back in a bull market. 4-year cycle remains in play for Bitcoin and for crypto.
Yeah. It's wild stuff. It's wild stuff for sure. Obviously it's very bullish for a judge to classify Ethereum as a commodity. That's not a small thing, but like Tim said, I agree, is that it's not the end all be all. There's still going to be some more debates to be had. Ultimately, unfortunately, it's going to still come down to the SEC, and the way that they operate, day to day. Because you can have something officially classified as a commodity doesn't mean that the SEC can't still sue you, no matter how unethical and crossing the boundaries it is. As long as Gary Gensler or somebody, who's working for the same interest groups as he is, or has the same incentives and motivations that he does, then they can still bring these suits and try to clog up the progression and the development of an entire industry. And that's what he's done somewhat effectively, although there's been a ton of development, obviously, and the prices of the underlying digital assets have gone up during the time. So he's failed on so many fronts, Tim. He's failed the justice system, and he's also failed whatever interest is trying to line his pocket to keep these prices down. So it's been interesting to watch.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if he's failing that either. I mean, I think things are playing out pretty well for the likes of BlackRock and other institutions. I mean, we always say BlackRock because I do think that's the main factor. I don't want to put all the blame on them. There's other institutions as well that very much want to see the price drop. Not MicroStrategy. Poor Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, they want price to go up, and they're still a large institution with the second largest Bitcoin wallet. But other institutions trying to get into the game, they want to see price go down still. They still want to get some more good Bitcoin prices. Do we have any other stories, T-Shroom, or is that it for today?
It's it for today. If we want to cover some different coins, you could do a shout out, and I'll do a little bit more recap of the market in the meantime. So, guys, let us know some coins that you want or stocks to take a look at. I'll take a look here at Nvidia is one that we talked about.
Yeah,
I'll take a look at it and show you guys the insane movement. It's actually down on the. Let me go to the daily chart. It's actually down on the 4-hour, but it's down 1.5 on the day. So having a little bit of a rough morning this morning on Friday. But as you can see, it has just had an absolute just jolt to the forward. You got a big gap here from 300 all the way up to 370. Basically, that was in one day. I can't remember exactly what that was, but that was huge. And it's just been, I think that was their earnings actually back then. Yeah, right there. Boom, earnings. And let's take a look at some of the other names here. AMD doing pretty well, up 1%. That's an interesting story to develop. I don't know if they have the capacity, if AMD has the capacity. Obviously, they're the number one. Them and Intel are competitors with NVIDIA, but I don't think that AMD has prioritized the AI chips, which are the ones that are really leading the charge on all of the AI optimism, obviously. So, but if AMD could pivot to that and start making those AI chips at the same level, that could be pretty big for that stock, which hasn't recovered anywhere near the same as NVIDIA has to reach its all-time highs. Tesla down 2.2% there. Meta and Amazon both barely clinging to green status. I mean, overall here you see a mixed bag, right? You see a mixed picture. Microsoft, I believe, opened the day a little higher than it is now, is coming back down, but overall, you're seeing. Let's look at the indexes. And Tim, are you seeing any coins that people are wanting to see done? Anything?
Yeah,
Anything?
well, we got a super chat that just came in. I was going to read here. Well, it was one of the members' chats from Elliot Locke with the gold badge. So the yellow badge, meaning he has been a member for over a month now. Hopefully
nice.
soon. I think a lot of those turned red, so that'll be cool. Do you think the government will go after AI as hard as they are going after crypto?
No.
It seems to me they are terrified of change. Go Gamecocks! Great show. Yeah, again, we're not talking football today, Elliot Locke. We'll talk tomorrow. Because I have thoughts about that. When it comes to the government going after AI, I mean, that didn't Gary Gensler say that? Didn't he say, like, he pretty much said we're not going to be opening any new crypto lawsuits. So people thinking that maybe he's going to go after like Cardano, or he's going to go after Matic, or he's going to go after Ethereum. Like, he's not going to start any new crypto lawsuits. They're going to finish out the ones they're in. And he said it seems like their attention is going after AI. Now, to me, with his track record, that seems to, I would say if I'm an AI person, I'm sitting pretty safe because Gary Gensler doesn't know how to win a lawsuit. That being said, they probably will. And to be fair, they probably should. Like, you want to talk about something that absolutely could harm retail and institutional investors is the danger of AI, the capabilities of AI. We need it to move forward. I think AI does need to be something that's in our future, but that's what let me know in chat if you disagree for some reason. But I am a big fan of AI being regulated. I do think there should be some things that we kind of keep some caps on of what's capable. T-Shroom, do you have a different opinion or?
Well, let me just say this. I don't think that the SEC should be the ones to be doing the regulation. It should be
Fair.
Congress, right?
Yeah.
And it should be
Yeah.
probably like some kind of technology subcommittee. Whoever, maybe the FCC, because it's like it's technically communication, but the SEC is there to say, hey, you're an entity that's trying to run a Ponzi scheme, or you're an entity that's trying to sell what we consider securities. And that there's been many instances in history of legitimate scams or people or organizations operating outside of the law of the Howey test, right, for nefarious purposes. They're trying to test the boundaries. And the SEC has rightly come in and taken and sued them and shut them down. Right. But what Gary Gensler has done is he's expanded so broadly the definition of that mandate of the SEC to the entire crypto industry, right? Taking on Ripple, taking on, Coinbase and Binance and like all these different companies just because of the concept of crypto. Now, you can make the argument there needs to be regulation in crypto, and even pro-crypto people think that, right? That there needs to be regulatory clarity for companies like that want to be SEC compliant to be able to operate. But the SEC, in my opinion, when it comes to the actual technology of AI and crypto and the new value that it brings to economies and to humanity, that is a no-go zone as far as I'm concerned, philosophically, for the SEC. That is the role of Congress to say, hey, this is a technology that either helps or hurts, and to the extent that it hurts, we need to have a regulator. We need to have boots on the ground that is preventing death or loss or whatever it is. But unfortunately, if you look at the way that this country is going, it's the elites that are actually the ones causing the loss in a lot of cases. So, a lot of times the cops are getting paid out here. So it's very unclear what actually would even be done, because when you talk about regulating AI, that is just this extremely complicated subject, and it's not really clear the right way to do it because it's so new, and very, very powerful people all across the industry of AI, including Elon and Zuckerberg and Sam Altman himself, they all have varying opinions. So it's Mark Andreessen. They all have different opinions on how it should or shouldn't be regulated. And you look at what was in the headlines yesterday. Sadly, Mitch McConnell. It's like you look at somebody like that and his peers. Are those the people that are going to be able to regulate AI? No, but that's their job. They're the metaphor you used yesterday, Tim. That's the cookie they're supposed to be selling, and they're not capable of it. Not really out of a fault of their own. It's a fault of the system that hasn't really been updated hasn't been comprehensively updated since the founding fathers created it, right? In order to try to address these higher tech systems. So
yeah. Elliot Locke, he commented again. He said, I asked because AI can be integrated into traditional finance and be used to manipulate it more than it already is. And that's one of the capabilities of it, Elliot. And that's why it looks like chat's kind of in agreement. Yeah, like there needs to be regulation of some kind. T-Shirt, you make a great point. that shouldn't be the SEC for multiple reasons. One, is that even their lane? Two, they're not good at winning lawsuits and actually accomplishing anything. Yeah, the government absolutely needs to be involved. But the other thing is, I don't know what that looks like. I mean, because the other thing to keep in mind, and we'll close this subject up and kind of continue to engage with chat. I think it's good just to kind of engage with chat for the rest of the show. We got about 5 more minutes. You don't want to necessarily also put too many restrictions on what we're capable of doing, and then of course send business out of the United States. So now you have an economy thing as well, where maybe a different country isn't as restrictive for what you're allowed to do with AI, and we don't want to move these AI companies to other countries. We want to keep that in house. We want to keep that here in the United States, where I still believe we have some of the best minds in this field, but. It's a messy situation. On one side, you don't want them leaving the States and leaving, killing United States jobs and United States innovation. But at the same time, there's danger to it. So this is a very complicated, sports ball for a second, but there's a guy, that Pat McAfee show, my favorite guy to listen to sports. And I heard him talk about this every now and then. Politics stuff will come up on their channel. And I kind of liked what he said. He's like, listen, I'm not a smart person. Let the smart people figure it out. But I'm smart enough to know when the smart people are not figuring out. So he's like, hey, smart people, do your job and figure it out and, save everything. So same thing. I don't envy the position of anyone having to try to make a decision on what to do with AI, because it's complicated, but you were hired for a reason to make these big decisions. Do your job, be smart, and figure it out. So let's engage with chat here a little bit more. And let's see. John Smith says, where is Jeb? I don't know if you're asking about where is Jeb in this moment. I don't know if you're asking about where is Jeb in life. Jeb is doing phenomenal. He lives in Gainesville, Florida. He has a wife and 2 kids. He's doing awesome. Yeah, I've been talking with him actually a little bit even more this week, but we talk off and on here and there, hoping to have Jeb at some point maybe come on the channel. I know he's on vacation with his family right now. I'm not going to say where, because I know he really, really likes to, stay private and not disclose his location. But he's doing good. So there you go, John Smith. That's where Jeb is. Not speaking of Jeb, because that's crazy. I do want to address. We have 3 minutes left, so kind of do this here. We haven't mentioned it yet today. But the elephant in the room, obviously, this whole week, has been nuts in the crypto space up here in Atlanta with Hit Network. There is there's a video that was posted last night on the BitBoy channel. I highly recommend, if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. It's heartbreaking. I mean, but it's also good. Like, it's pretty much an apology video. Ben admits to some things. He talks about what the future looks like. I can't go into details, guys. I can tell you, I'm still praying. I told you guys on Tuesday, I'm praying and hoping for the best. I think this is an amazing step in the right direction. I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know if is Ben coming back in a month? Is he coming back in 6 months? Is he ever coming back? We don't know. And nobody knows the answer to that question. There's still a lot of details that him and TJ need to work through. There's still a lot of details him and the company need to work through. There's some details that he needs to continue to work on. But it is good and it's awesome. I mean, the comments are overwhelming over there about it's just always good to see things come into light and people address them and people take them head on. So I was really, really happy to see Ben, making that video, and he sent it to the Hit Network last night. And so he asked us to post it for him. So go give it a watch. What I want to say about this is a couple different things. No matter where you believe, like, this is a time to really be cautious and patient. I understand this is the internet. I understand that this is the place that people like to troll and go nuts, go crazy, and try to figure things out and speculate and spread rumors and make up details and try to look like they know everything. This is one of the reasons why it's really important to wait to see things completely come out. There's been a lot of hatred this week towards Ben, which is terrible. And I really hope people can come to a place where they realize what they did and said about Ben was wrong, and that this is a man he's a human, he's living life, he makes mistakes just like the rest of us, and a life is about, when you make mistakes, how do you respond to it? I hope people really back off him. There's been other people attacking Hit Network, attacking TJ, attacking Nick and DZ and AJ and myself and Kelly and Frankie, but they didn't know the details. And so I urge people to be patient, continue to wait for things, but also realize, man, I don't know what's going on here. to go after and to attack people when I have no idea what the actual details are is a little bit too much. Like, this is a time where people don't need to try to pick sides. They don't need to try to be angry. They need to continue to watch, to wait to see what's coming out, to have patience and mercy and grace for everyone involved, because I can tell you this with 100% confidence, not a single person that is involved in this situation is happy. Not a single person enjoyed anything that has happened. Not a single person didn't go without a massive amount of pain. Not a single person's family has not been affected by this. And I urge you guys, and I understand why people like to speculate and create chaos and go all over the place, but I urge you guys that this is a great example of times like, hey, before we reach for hate, or before we reach for chaos, or before we reach for spreading rumors or to be patient and graceful and understand that things in this world, sometimes you got to just let them play out in the proper way. And I can tell you this right now, I have a lot of high hope that Ben is going to be back in the seat. He is BitBoy. I have a lot of hope for him personally, for the company, but there is still things that need to play out, and there are still details that need to be handled. And you guys can speculate on what they are, but I can guarantee you right now, you don't know a single thing about what's happening. So, do you want to go online and post ridiculous things and then have the cake thrown back in your face? Or do you want to be a person who is slow to speak, quick to listen, quick to forgive, quick to give grace? I urge you guys to choose that type of person, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to move forward. That's the only way that redemption is going to be able to happen. That's the only way that this entire community can move forward and actually accomplish something that we want to accomplish in the future. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for your continued support here. Thank you for your support of Ben. Thank you for your support of Hit Network. I would thank anyone who's going to be man enough or woman enough to say, you know what, I said some things or did some things that I probably shouldn't have, in the same way Ben did. It takes humility and it takes a lot of guts to admit when you're wrong. And I'm hoping that that's the same way that a lot of other people feel, and they come out with a similar kind of mantra. With that said, though, guys, that's all we have for you in this Friday show. Again, we love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like on the way out. Hit subscribe. See you guys tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, catch a word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.